What's going on, boys? No guys here. Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we have the Pep Guardiola system, the false nine. I'm going to go through the tactics and instructions. I'll explain how everything works. I've tested this as well, so it does work, and hopefully this kind of inspired from also how Man City played yesterday, and kind of a bit of Barcelona's Pep Guardiola false nine system, but it's been adapted for FIFA. That's the most important thing, because what happens in real life you can't really do in FIFA, unfortunately. You're playing against someone else's game plan, so I've made it so it's playable and viable for most players to use. We're going to start with the defensive style. I'll be honest, pressing after possession loss is what you probably think would be the most viable option. It does seem to be the most similar, but I'll be honest, it doesn't really work out because your team press all the time. And you could get done on the counter-attack, or you could get done versus a good player. Pressure on every touch, I think, is a good balance because you're playing very attacking, but you're only pressing when there's a good chance to win the ball. So you're not pressing every single time. If you're pressing every single time, your opponent kind of knows how to react. They'll hold the ball a bit more, they'll go backwards, be more conservative. Whereas if you press, I would say, sporadically in like short instruments of spurts, and your opponents won't know what you're doing, they'll just think you're manually pressing. So this will aid your pressing ability so you can win the ball back high up the pitch. We've gone with a width of 6 or 5. It's up to you. I'll be honest, I've gone with 5, and I'll explain to you the reason why. It's because I'm using a 4-3-3, a false 9. The left mid and a right wing are fairly wide on the pitch. The issue is these players are very narrow. And when you're defending, sometimes I find they're too clogged together, and your opponents can very much run in between these lines. I don't really like that. I'm not really a big fan of it. If you can manually man mark a player, I would recommend 6 because that way you're as wide as possible. If you can't and you're worried about defensive shape, put this on 5. That way at least you'll be more stable. You'll be able to defend the middle and the wide areas because the left wing and the right wing will come back, which I'll get onto in a second. Depth, we've gone on 6. I want to be high up the pitch. The reason why depth on high is kind of somewhat important is pressure on every touch is a really good tactic. But you don't want to use pressure on every touch if you're sitting deep, because all you're going to do is you're going to try to win the ball back by pressing sometimes when you're too far back and you end up going too far forward, if that makes sense, and you could get done in behind. But having 6, you're not too far forward where you're going to get done with over the top through ball or long ball in behind. So it's easy for you to manage defensively, but more importantly, more than anything, is that you're higher up the pitch. That way you can press your opponent very easily when there's a chance to win the ball. So when your opponent does make a mistake and he faces away from goal or he takes a heavy touch, that is when you can pounce. That way you got a higher chance to win the ball and you can apply pressure. Now, defensive style, I'll be honest, what you probably think would be the best is to use is possession. Now, the only thing I would say is with possession is only use possession if you know how to use L1 triggers. The only issue with using possession is, just to give you a bit of an example, if you have the ball with, for example, this play, if you have the possession tactic on, players will come short towards you. Now, in theory, the best way in football in general, I'm sure all of you know, the best way to help your team is or help the person with the ball is by moving away to create space. Like if you do an L1 trigger, this guy makes a run, you drag your opponent's left back or right back with him. That's how you create space. So with possession, you always have people coming close to you, so you could get done if you don't know how to trigger players forward. So only use possession if you know how to use the L1 trigger. What I mean by that is, if for example, I'm getting pressed really bad by my opponent and my players are just coming close, if you can press the L1 button and send this guy forward on the run, so you can do a through ball down the wing as an exit option, then use possession. If you don't know how to do that, then use balance. So only if you know how to do 1-2s and L1 triggers. So what I'd say is try possession first. If you find that you're struggling, don't worry about it, just use balance, it's fine. Because balance, as I said, is a combination of both coming short and going long. AI makes decisions for you. Possession, most of the time they'll come towards you, but you'll need to trigger the runs manually. That's what I need to bear that in mind. So if you are in trouble and your opponent does press you, do bear that in mind. With the width, we have gone with the width of 3. This is kind of a bit different. It's because when you're attacking, it's not more about being centrally. It's because the left wing and right wing are very wide, and you kind of want these guys to be close together. The good thing with possession is you have the ball here, you have the players coming close and the false 9 option. So that way when you do an L1 trigger, they'll be close by, so they can make the L1 triggers from being close and then drag a defender away. So I prefer them to be more centrally, and also it's better for the Tiki-Taka. The triangles are really, really good, especially with, I would say, with all these players over here, you have a good combination outside your opponent's box. So when your opponent is parking the bus, at least you'll have that combination available, as opposed, for example, in the 4-2-3-1, you might find that you only have the striker and a cam and you might struggle a lot. So this way you do have the options in the middle. Players in the box, I've gone with 5. It's up to you, I'll be honest. We have the left wing and right wing on get into the box, so you can reduce this. If you do like to pass around the ball, like the Wenger ball system, we like to pass around the ball like you might see me doing outside your opponent's box, then you can reduce this down so you have more outlets outside the box, but I've gone with 5. So if you do find this is too much, you can just always reduce it. Corners and free kicks again on 1. Instructions. So we have come back on offense on the left wing. As I said, this is really important for FIFA because in real life it's a bit different. You might put this guy and stay forward to occupy your opponent's right back so you can't go forward, but in FIFA it doesn't work like that. You don't know your opponent's game plan. So realistically, come back on offense, that way you don't get doubled up, so that way you have the wing areas covered, and that way you can keep these guys centrally. That's what's important. So come back on offense. We have put them however on so this is important, we put them on cut inside. Cut inside is somewhat important because it allows you to play possession-based football, but the issue is that sometimes they veer too much inside and you lose that, that presence down the wing. So what we've done is we've gone with balanced and we have gone with come short. So what's going to happen is that they're going to sometimes, AI is going to decide what they do. AI is smarter than you think, okay? So they'll sometimes they'll stay wide, sometimes they go inside, sometimes they won't really free roam. Free roam doesn't really work that well. The reason why this is important is if you have the possession tactic on, if you have the ball with your, let's say this is your left wing and right wing. If you have the ball with, let's say, either one of your left backs and right backs, you don't want them to be cutting in every single time because you want that driven through ball outlet, which we know in FIFA, that's the best way to get past your opponent, doing a 1-2 and doing a driven through ball down the wing. If you watch my videos, you know that already. That's the best way to get past your opponent. So that's why you don't want to constrict these players to basically just either staying wide or just staying short or coming inside. Let AI decide what they want, but they will come short. So the benefit is if you have the ball with your left back and right back, your left wing and right wing are going to be coming short. So then you can use an L1 trigger to then push them forward. So what you're going to do is actually a quite smart thing. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to move towards your right back. You're going to drag his right back with you and then use the L1 trigger. Then you can beat him. That is very, very key. If you use the L1 triggers down the wing, you're going to love this system because it's a combination of the lamb. Because I can think of the lamb and the ram in a 4-2-1. They don't really come short. Whereas in this system, they come short and they provide that support. We have put get into the box for crosses. So when you do get into like a crosser type situation, they're going to come in when you are crossing. Let's say the ball here, he's going to come inside the box. Of course, that's very important as you only have 3 attackers and not 2 strikers. We have, however, gone with aggressive interceptions. This I would say is pretty good. I prefer them because I prefer to just, with the false 9 striker, I kind of like just run back with him and try to press. And like AI will basically press with these 2 players. And as I said, because it's not the problem with pressure on every touch or press after possession loss, you're pressing all the time. At least this way, pressure on every touch, your team, they press together in a unit. Sometimes when there's a good chance to win the ball. If not, you can use your striker most of the time to press. And you do have the AI assistance. So that way you're still pressing. You're not just sitting back and being defensive. You actually are pressing. So that is something that I've gone with as well. You might have to change these wingers though for someone that's got low stamina. But with team of season players, I don't think it's a big issue at this stage of FIFA. With the central player, I put stay central, stay forward, which is what I put him on. And I put him on also on false 9. The reason why you want to put him on stay forward is if you put him on balanced or come back on offense, I think he's too close to your midfield partnership. And I think realistically you want him to be a bit more further up the pitch, but then dropping deep in the final third. So that's why we've gone with false 9. Again, the most important thing is when you have this player on stay central false 9 is he'll be in the middle. Someone that will work very well here will be someone like Neymar. If you have the likes of Neymar or someone like Ribery, they can play, someone very agile that can create is very good because then they can drop deep and you can do a 1-2 for example with your centre mid and then they can make a run in behind and you can play a through ball to get it behind or first time fake shot. So that's why I've gone with the false 9. Now with 2 centre mids, now in order to make this a bit more attacking, I've changed the system up a little bit. We have one guy, we're going to put them on cover centre firstly because the first thing is the left mid and right mid are coming back to defend the wings. So these guys are going to defend the central area. So you defend like in a 4-5-1 essentially. The second thing is we've put one of these guys on stay back while attacking. I think this is important because that way you need 2 midfielders at all time I think. But the good thing with a 4-3-3, they're not in line, is like a centre mid. So you have like one CDM and a centre mid just in front of him. And then we have him on stay on the edge of the box. Again, you want that stability and you want that passing option outside the box. When you are down the wing, if you find that you're struggling, you want Kante or your CDM to be outside the box. I would say a more attacking player. I got team in the season Kante, so he works pretty well. And then with the CDM itself, we have gone with just stay back, cut passing lanes and cover center. We put him on conservative as well. So this is going to be the guy that's literally going to be staying back and doing nothing. This would be I would say the Busquets or the Fernandinho in real life. No drop between defenders here though, just stay back, cut passing lanes and cover center. With the other centre mid, we have them to be on more attacking. Realistically, if you have this player on balance, you need to have good work rates like high, medium, or high. If you don't have those work rates, you have to put get forward. I'd recommend get forward, get into the box. You can use free roam. It doesn't really work too well, say, with this formation. But that way, what would happen is that you'll have the CDM sitting back, your centre mid being in front of your CDM to help create with the attackers, and you'll have one guy running forward. So you'll basically have, as Guardiola likes to have, the 4 strikers forward. So you have the 4 strikers running forward. That's how you create that system. In terms of positioning, the way I've done this is I've just put I put Kante in the middle. I put someone like Ferland Mendy, who's also very defensive and can be very attacking in the midfield. And realistically, I put him next to the midfielders. That way you can actually create. And that's the way I've done it. In terms of the back, this is how I've lined my back up. The reason why I put De Jong and Vieira, De Jong is a good creator, so he can bring the ball forward. You might see me use this very much recently. Within structures for the back line, you can put them on stay back while attacking. I would recommend you can put them on inverted, but it doesn't really do anything. They don't really go in. If you're thinking that inverted, they're gonna go in like Guardiola and how Man City Kyle Walker does, it's not gonna work like that, or as many did for City. It won't work like that. So bear that in mind. It's no point having these guys on get forward because they do nothing. When they do go forward, they just kind of roam in this area. So what you can do is you can leave maybe one of these players unbalanced. So maybe your most attacking one, so in this case I got Semedo, you can leave him unbalanced. So what I've been roughly doing over here, I've been trialing out some things where I've been putting De Jong over here, swapping him with Mendy. As I said, I've been trialing this out. And that way you have Mendy just going forward. So when you're defending, you basically have a back three, kind of a back three. And then you have De Jong, which is on stay back while attacking, so you can always cover for that position. And then you have Kante on stay back, so you have that stability. But you have this player on balance. Don't forget he'll be going out sometimes. It doesn't really work too well. So if you are good at this game and you know you're good at defending, then I would recommend just using this person on stay back. And then whenever you have the ball with Semedo or De Jong, you trigger this player forward using the L1 button. That way you create the overlap. So that way what would happen is you'll have, say, Maximin running forward, you'll have your 4 strikers, your 2 midfielders, and then to just help when you're attacking is you can trigger this player forward. That's the way I would attack. So if you're attacking, you find your opponent is parking a bus, you could always go back to De Jong, go back to Kante, and use an L1 trigger to bring this player forward, and then create the attack from there. That is one thing that you can do. So that's the reason you put them on inverted, is that they make the runs more inwards, and that's pretty much it. I said you'll enjoy this formation. It's a really good attacking formation. As I said, the most important thing is if possession is not for you, feel free to change the balance. As I said, possession might not be for everyone. If you are gold 1+, I think you will like possession very well, because you probably know how to use the 1-2s effectively to create space, or the L1 triggers, or even just trying to have fun if you don't care about winning or not. But if you want to really do well with this formation and you're struggling with L1 triggers, then definitely use balanced. As I said, the team is not that important. It's a fast winger here, who can shoot. Kind of a player like Neymar would be perfect here. I would say for both the CDMs, both centre mid, should I say, try to get attacking one. You could also put a forward here, so you can put someone like Mbappe or Ben Yedder here if you really want to, or someone like Ribery. So you can put an attacking player or a striker in this position. It's not the end of the world. The other centre mid, ideally like Nainggolan or De Jong, someone that's good, well balanced all around. And then the CDM, I would say a natural CDM, someone like Vieira or someone like Kante. I don't like Vieira in that position, just to give you ratings, because his distribution is terrible, to be honest. That's why I put Kante there. But anyway, that's the formation. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll probably be releasing some more videos as well soon, so I'll let you know regarding that as well. Take it easy. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.